Jimmy and I are twins. I know what you're thinking. We can't possibly be twins. He's black, and I'm white. He's 19, and I'm 17. He lives in Rwanda, and I live here. And then there's also what you can't see. When he was just 2 years old, he was found on his mother's murdered body during the genocide in Rwanda, where over 1 million people were slaughtered. And I've lived here safely in Santa Rosa for my entire life. But here's how it's possible. When I was in 5th grade, my humanities teacher here at Sonoma Country Day School taught 2 lessons about the genocide in Darfur. I was shocked to hear about the hundreds of thousands of innocent people who had been killed, and the difficult life for the displaced survivors, especially the orphan children living in the refugee camps. I kept thinking about it and related this tragedy in Africa to the Holocaust. Never again is what people said time and time again in response to that atrocity. Yet, since the Holocaust, 46 more genocides have taken place around the globe. Over 400,000 people have been killed in Darfur, and over 6 million in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Every day, young girls are brutalized, and boys even younger than I are being forced to become child soldiers. I couldn't stop thinking about it. While I was living here safely, kids just like me were losing their families or their lives. I knew I had to do something. I had to take action, but I didn't know what. And I didn't think people would listen to me because of my age. After all, I was only 12. When I talked to my family and friends, they encouraged me and told me, people listen to you because of your age. So when I was preparing for my bar mitzvah, I asked my rabbi what I can do to help. He put me in touch with Jewish World Watch, an amazing nonprofit organization that works to end human rights abuses and genocide around the globe. After talking to them, I decided that I would at least try and make a difference. So I started the Northern California section of the Backpack Project, which aimed to raise awareness and the funds necessary to fill backpacks with shoes, school supplies, and hygiene items. When I first told my mom that my initial goal was to raise $1,000 over the next 3 months, she looked at me kind of shocked and said, "No, don't set your goal too high, honey. Whatever you raise will be great." I sent out hundreds of letters and I gave many, many speeches. And after raising $1,000, I kept on going. You can imagine how excited I was when donations from family, friends, a family foundation, and people that I never even met helped me raise $16,000, enough to fill 450 backpacks and 500 hand-colored tags decorated by local children. It surprised me that the project didn't just benefit children in Chad, though. One very troubled teen living at the Valley of the Moon Children's Center, whose background included abuse and neglect, was initially reluctant about coloring a tag. After finishing his tag, he said, "I feel better about myself now because I did something to help someone else." This experience empowered this boy who had suffered so much in his own life here in Sonoma County, and by coloring the tag, he gave hope to another refugee who had suffered so much thousands of miles away. My initial project goal, 3 months and $1,000, seemed immense at the time. But now, 5 years later, I've organized 4 annual walks to end genocide and have raised over $100,000 to support genocide survivors. Thank you. My walks have been attended by close to 1,000 participants, from toddlers to seniors, genocide and Holocaust survivors, and community and state leaders. Looking back, if someone had told me that by the time I was 17, I would accomplish this much, I would never have believed them. But something was still missing. I knew I had to go to Africa to meet the people that I'd been helping. I wanted to go to Darfur or the Congo, but it seemed impossible. It was too dangerous, and there was no way that my parents would let me. But opportunity came to travel to Africa with a local group called the Rwanda School Project. After a year of raising funds for school scholarships and collecting 1,000 pounds of donated supplies with my 8 traveling companions, my dream of traveling to Africa finally became reality. In Rwanda, it became real and personal. I met Lawrence, who told us of seeing 13 of her 14 children and her husband murdered in front of her by their neighbor. She wiped away our tears as she told us her story, and I struggled to believe it when she told us that she had forgiven her neighbor. I met children in a nursery school who had never before seen a crayon or a ball. They sat for hours each day under the sweltering heat of the African sun in a structure with no shade and no water, just happy and grateful for the opportunity to learn. And then there was Jimmy, a street boy for a number of years, but he had a passion for learning, a great sense of humor, and was just grateful to have a bed at his school. Within moments of meeting, he announced that we were twins. Impossible? No. Jimmy and I are brothers, a world apart in geography and experience, but we share something intangible, a special connection that family members have for one another. And he is someone who I might never have met if I hadn't taken the first step in his direction when I was 12. Consider the story of the old man who lived on the beach. One night, there was a terrible storm. The next morning, he walked out onto the beach and saw thousands of starfish washed up on the sand. In the distance, he saw a figure throwing the starfish back into the ocean, one by one. He walked to the figure and found it to be a young boy. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. "There's no way that you can save them all. It won't make a difference." The young boy stopped for a moment, bent down, picked up a starfish, and threw it into the ocean. "It made a difference to that one," he said. I'm so glad that I took action, even though the action at the time seems so small. It doesn't matter if you're 12 or 112. It doesn't matter if what you feel so passionate about is in your own community or halfway around the globe. Just take the first step. If you don't, who will? Thank you.